did find out there will be ACC officials on the field, as you'd expect. Big Ten will be at South Bend next year for the game. And I was harking back to 03 when they played NC State. Ohio State had 129 yards of penalties. They're still throwing pass interference penalties against Dustin Fox. And they had a defensive holding penalty, a face mask, and an offsides in overtime. That's third overtime that moved the ball to the 1 yard line. But it was AJ Hawk and Will Allen that hit the ball carrier, and his arm came down and the ball came down right short, about that far from the goal line. They did not have replay in those days. So those on-field officials came running in from both sides, and the guy facing the camera is looking the guy coming the other way. They could have gone like this. My arms are in the air. You just can't see it. They could have called a touchdown, and there's no way anything could have overturned that because they didn't have replay at the time, but at least they had the integrity to look at each other. And the one guy goes on fourth down, goes, he didn't get it. He didn't get it. And that was the end of the game. That was a walk-off. That was it, because Ohio State had scored 6 in the top of the third overtime and did not get the 2-point conversion. In the third overtime, you had to go for 2. So had they given NC State the touchdown, and then NC State with Phillip Rivers who had a humongous game against Ohio State that day, gets the 2-point conversion, then NC State wins the game 46-44 and defeats the defending national champion, Ohio State. It took a few more weeks, obviously, for Wisconsin to pull that off in the rain up in Madison. But for at least that day, that team's winning streak got to live on a little bit further. But they didn't have that problem with Miami in 2010. I think Ohio State just dominated the game, and there wasn't a chance for the ACC officials to try and keep them in it. But don't make it close. Go out and make plays, and don't let them call the phantom holding penalty or whatever. And and here's the other thing: there is replay now, so if something is terribly egregious on an inbounds play or whatever, it's going to get reversed or whatever. And the one last thing is there is oversight, because there is a committee or one supervisor who assigns the officials for the playoff. You would think the ACC is sending their best crew to Columbus to call this game, and that crew wants to call the national championship game or a playoff game. They need to be letter perfect in this game. They can't have every flag they throw has to hold water on videotape replay for the supervisor, or they will not get a playoff game. So they'll be shuffled off to the Music City Bowl. So and nobody wants that. So these guys are going to call it straight down the middle, in my opinion.